this is Ina, and I thought of having a little chat with you concerning my collage pages. I got a few questions from some of my viewers asking about where do I get my images from and how do I collect them and what do I look for and so on. Now, initially when I heard about it, I thought, well, it's pretty simple. It's not rocket science. I'm just looking through magazines and, there's not a lot to tell. But then I thought about it and I thought, well, there are a few little tips I could maybe pass on. Now, there are different type of collage artists and different kind of, collages out there. My particular style is where I have a very specific centerpiece and one image which dominates my page. So, of course, I look for some really striking images who can fulfill that place of a centerpiece and the most important piece of the page. I do sometimes add other little magazine pieces for backgrounds or details, or I frame them with some magazine cutouts, but I also often just use one image and then a lot of mixed media, painting and so on. Now, most of my images I find in these nice fashion magazines. The reason I like them a lot is they have very good photography, therefore good images, interesting images, and the paper is usually a little bit heavier, so way easier to work with. I find that some of the more simple magazines usually have very small images. The paper is very thin, hard to work with. Nevertheless, I look through just about anything I can get my hand on, and I find unusual images in unusual places, and I will keep them. But the majority of my images do come from these fashion magazines. Now, I don't buy them because they are rather costly. Some of these big magazines cost like $8-10 or something, and yeah, I'm not really willing to pay that because I'm just going to cut them up and use them in my art. But I receive them from some friendly neighbors. My daughters sometimes give me their old ones, and I do buy them secondhand whenever I can find them in thrift stores, but I hardly ever pay more than $1 for these. So these are definitely my favorites to look through. Now, initially when I started doing a lot of collaging, I prepared some folders, file folders, and I had the different themed images in there. I ordered them in categories and so on, but it was just a bit cumbersome. First of all, often they would stick out because my image would be too big or something. Then working with them, it was a lot of digging, and also when I would take the ones out I had planned to use for a project, then ending up not needing them, it was a real hassle to put them all back in the proper folders. So in the meantime, I simplified it. I have a set of these skinny plastic drawers, and I designated 4 drawers just to my magazine cutouts, and I will show them to you. Now, I'm not moving the camera just because it's just gonna wiggle and wobble about and give you a headache. So here is my first drawer. See, there are just these little drawer sets. There is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. So the top 4 I have designated to my magazine images. First drawer is just words or phrases. Words I like to keep. Maybe I already have an idea when I see them of what I could do with it. Oops, I had this for a while. I haven't found a suitable page for it yet. But sometimes I also just keep a whole page with interesting script, and where I maybe just pick one word in case I need it. So I have all kinds of different things. This is numbers, and there's a bunch of, I like, interesting shapes and colors, and I like handwritten things from magazine and so on. And in this one I also keep a folder where I keep printed, like, not printed, sorry, sticker words and phrases I collected. So those are in here as well. So that would be my first drawer. Let's put this back in. And then my second drawer is more background and things like background, like these stones, or this is a very interesting background, you know, or this, which is like feels like, looks like textured background. But also things like I have a piano keyboard, and let's see what else we have in here. Watches, furniture. I have houses and boats and cars and mountains and anything which could be background or detailing for a pretty bridge 4-page. So those all go in here. And as you can see, there's a lot of room, and it's very easy to collect them in this drawers. And then my next one would be nature. So there's lots of animals and flowers and greenery, this kind of things. And I find a lot when I do my collage pages that, especially with nature themes, I go mostly by colors, either similar colors or complementary colors, to create a page. And on occasion, these are the centerpieces. Like a big flower like this would be nice. So colors are very important for these, and I really go for bright colors and or unusual images. I mean, sometimes I don't know what I will use it for, but you never know. If it speaks to me, it goes in here. So the most interesting is probably the human drawer here. As most of my pages, I do use a human figure for the main centerpiece. So again, I look for interesting poses, nice facial expressions. This is very pretty. It would make a really nice page. This too, I like interesting positions, because I think, especially in my type of collaging, when this may be the main image, it's got to be interesting. It's got to be showing some kind of motion and emotion and some interesting positions. So that's what I usually go for. Colors is good too, but that can be changed a little bit. You could always change the color of her pants or whatever they might be wearing, but the main facial expression and the way they sit or stand or whatever they may be doing, I think that's the important thing, and that's what I look for. Now, I really like happy, cheerful, a little bit cheeky, a little bit rascally kind of images. Now, this is really pretty, but a little big, because most of my collage pages are about this size, so not sure yet what I will be using this for. I love this kind of stuff. She too, I like the background here as well. This could be easily used together with the door in the back. I love those kind of fresh, spunky kind of images. And sometimes just something sweet. Her position here is very cool, very interesting, and could make a real cool page, you know, with the right quote or something. It could be really good. So I collect all kinds of stuff which I hope to use. Not too many guys, a few, mostly ladies. And I just picked this one. I like the position too, and she has this dark dress on, which would look really cool on a very bright background. So yeah, I'm looking forward to working with that. This is cool too, but maybe a little big. Just a nice one. So there are quite a few in here, and right now collect a few more, maybe go through 1 or 2 magazines, but then I really start working with the images, and they usually last me then a couple of weeks until I get to the point where I've used up all my favorites and I feel the need to, you know, replenish my drawer. And what I often do at that time, I get rid of some of the old images, maybe not every single one, but especially the ones who've been in here for a while, because I feel like if I haven't used them up to that point, you know, I could easily replace them with something easier to use. but also because magazines are so plentiful. There's so many images out there, and it's just fun to look at something new. And also, if this drawer would be completely full, it'd be a real piece of work trying to find something in it. So I like to keep it not too bulky, so I can have a little idea in my mind what's in there, and it's easy for me to find. So I do purge very regularly. It's also one way to keep everything a little more manageable in my small art room. Now let's see. Now I don't just pick any modeling image. I do like I said before, the fresh and happy and positive looking. I'm not so much into really cool faces. So there are certain things I probably wouldn't use, but that is just me. Everybody has their style and preference. Now sometimes when I see centerpieces like this, I will keep them because that could make a real cool main image too, even though it's not a person, because it's just really cool. So usually, oops, I got two. Usually I just take, in this case I would take the whole page. Now if it's a smaller image and I absolutely know I will not use the rest, I might cut it just very you know, just around it, not in detail. So this will go into my things drawer. That's a pretty image actually. Even though it's not happy, it's interesting. She has kind of an interesting expression. Quite like it. Oh, this would go here. Anyway, so those were just a few examples of what I would pick. And that's all I had. Just a short little chat. I hope there were some tips which are helpful to you. See you soon. Bye-bye.